Namaskar, I'm Rajdeep Pandit, and I special thanks to Vikram ji that conduct a session for understand the Parashar Lite software easy and quick way to get maximum benefit to how to read the chart and other qualities from Parashar Lite software.
And thank you to everybody who have joined on time. While we wait for others to join, this will be a working session. I have a deck. I will take you through the deck first. So I will be asking you for your attention during that time, and then we will make it working where we will together customize your software, right? And I must also share that it is not possible to cover all the topics in one session. In case we don't manage, we will do another session, and even that will be recorded. So we'll take things slow and steady, and we'll do things pakka, right? And for those of you who have been in my sessions before, the focus is on customizing this for our program, right? And for everybody else who has joined for the first time, my name is Vikram. I'm part of All Things Vedic, and deeply impressed by the work that Dr. Rajdeep sir has been doing in making the software available for the public. Also deeply impressed by his YouTube channel. Please check it out. And the fabulous webinars that he conducts, interviews of different personalities. And a big thank you, sir, for giving me this opportunity to show how this software works to your community. Yeah. We are a large group, so I will ask that we are very conscious of the questions that we ask, that we are very conscious of what we type. It is going to be a full-on session, and one session may not be enough. So let's be conscious of everybody's time over here. Can we do a small grounding before we begin? It is sacred work, right? So if I can ask us all to put our phones on silent mode, please. I'm putting mine on do not disturb. And if I can just take you through a quick 2-minute grounding before we begin. Yeah. Leave aside your keyboard, mouse, pen, and paper. Find your feet on the floor. Sense if your back is straight. If you're comfortable, close your eyes and bring your attention to your breathing. A few moments of connecting with the body, using the breath as an anchor. And now let's connect with everybody in the group. Let's synchronize our breathing. Let's breathe in and breathe out. We breathe in with the nose and let go with the mouth. One more time, breathing in and releasing. Come back to normal breathing. And let's connect with the divine. Let's say a small prayer silently in our own words, asking for guidance, asking for protection, and to be shown the way. Slowly come back to your breathing. Become aware of the space around you. And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Okay. Welcome, everyone. This is our first session on customizing Parashara's light. I have a small deck. Let me take you through this. I ask for your full attention. Leave aside your software. Just look at the deck. It's just a few slides, and it will set the tone for the working session. Yeah. Now, this will be the screen that opens when you start your software. And this is how the software may be looking for you before customization. Now, there are different platforms. This is a Windows platform that I've taken this screenshot. Right? Now, this one here is what we call as the menu bar right on top. Over here, we have what we call as the chart selector. Yeah. The name of the chart over here, this is the D9 Navamsha chart. And then these are the grahas, the planets, right? And in this case, it's giving you the degree, 26th degree, and the nakshatra, Purva Falguni. Right? But what we need to notice in the screen is the layout, right? I'm going to draw a grid over here, and you'll notice that this is how this particular screen has been designed. Yeah, this is the grid, and each part of the grid is called a cell. So that is a cell, top left-hand corner. This is a cell. This is a cell. All of these are cells. Yeah. Now, the software is such that you can double-click and right-click in different places. Yeah. When you double-click a cell, any cell, you get the chart and table selection dialog box. Yeah. Here, there are different tables. You can set the context. You can choose which chart you want. And you can choose the vargas or the divisional charts. So basically, you need to choose one from each column. Column is the vertical. So you can say, for instance, in tables, you can choose chart. Simple. Under context, you choose birth, the birth chart. Special charts, you take the sign chart, not house chart. As an example, Vargas, choose Janma birth chart D1, right? You need to choose one from each. But interestingly, this particular software also gives you partner. So when you're doing compatibility, for instance, you can select partner here and you get compatibility of 2 charts. Yeah, that's a tick mark. Yeah. Also, you can select the cell size. You can make the grid. How many cells do you want a particular chart to occupy? You select over here. So in this case, for instance, it says 3x1. That means it will take 3 cells horizontally and 1 cell vertically, whatever you have selected on the top. Yeah, we will do all this as a working session. Just get an overview at this stage, right? And after that, you click on OK. This is the chart and table selection dialog. Now, when you click on the chart selector dialog, which is on the top right-hand corner, you will get the worksheet dialog box. Over here, you can give the name for a particular screen. You can call it whatever you want, right? I have called it birth chart 1. You can have many screens under one worksheet. Each screen will be different. So over here, for instance, I've got Varga chart, I've got sunrise chart, I've got Navamsha ages chart, Sudarshan Chakra chart. Right? You can also select a certain chart as your favorite, in which case you can easily access that chart, that screen. But also what we'll be doing in this session is to add a new blank screen and start customizing it from ground up. Yeah, we'll use this option very shortly, add screen. And when you add it, you'll get blank. You see that word blank over here under the worksheet, it creates a blank screen. Okay? So this is the worksheet dialog box. You can right click a graha. And when you right click a graha, it gives you different options. Yeah? You can rotate the chart to a particular planet, especially if you're using North Indian chart, and you want Mars as your Lagna, you can rotate the chart to Mars. You can get significations of that planet. You can get a calculation summary of that planet, Shadbala, for instance, right? Right-clicking the planet opens this dialog box. You can also right-click a chart itself. Yeah. So when you right-click a chart, you get this dialog box. You can change the format of the chart to North Indian, to South Indian, to circular, the tropical astrology format, or the Bengali Oriya style. You can change it, right? I primarily use the South Indian format, change it to North Indian. You can also right click a dasha. So if I look at the Vimshottari dashas and I right click, say Sun and Mars, I get options over there. Yeah, I can update my transit Gochar chart to that date and time. I can read about the effects, different options. Basically, what I'm trying to share is there are numerous ways in which you can customize, and you can design your workflow depending on how you use, what techniques you use in astrology. Yeah. Even more important, right at the top in the menu bar, you have an options menu. You use that to optimize, to customize the look and feel of your software. Yeah. You have all these different options over there. Yeah. The fonts, the color coding, but importantly, the calculations. For instance, if you want to change the Ainamsha, you want to use KP Ainamsha, you want to use BB Raman Ainamsha, all that comes under calculation, right? Default is Lahiri Ainamsha. The software is so capable that I have seen many learners struggle in optimizing the software because they get lost with the number of options that's available. So as you explore the software, what I want you to be alert to is whether you're customizing the software based on your technique or whether you customize your technique based on what software provides. They are two very different approaches. My recommendation is don't get lost in how much the software provides. Decide beforehand what you need for your interpretation and use just that. Very easy to get lost in Parashara's light. For instance, I showed you how the software looks like for you. Yeah, this is how I have customized my software. This is how my screen looks like. Very different from the default, because this is what I use in my interpretations. I have a large birth chart, I have a small divisional chart, and I also have the Gochar. You don't have to copy this, but use the software based on what you need. Here's another screen. I have all the divisional charts on one screen. So when I'm doing a Varga analysis, I see all the divisional charts. Maybe I need to have Vimshottari Dasha in this screen because that's very important when you analyze a divisional chart. But if you're not at the stage of learning where you use divisional charts, leave it aside. Just focus on what you need. Here's another screen I use for compatibility. I've got one birth chart on the left side, I've got the partners chart in the center, and I've got the Ashtakut analysis at the bottom. Right? I don't use this when I'm analyzing the birth chart of one individual. I use the screen only for couples. Right? You can favorite your important screen, so then you have it handy. I will show you how you can do that. Here's another screen for Ashtaka Varga, right? Very different from the default. So we will see how we can bring in all these different charts. Yeah. This is the default screen. This is Jaimini. I don't use Jaimini astrology, but for those of you who are practicing Jaimini, you have immense capabilities with this software. Right now, I must share that neither Rajdeep sir nor me are in any way benefiting from Parashara's light by offering this value-added service, right? We have nothing to gain. So we are doing this completely out of goodwill, especially Rajdeep sir, out of goodwill for the astrology community. Yeah, we are not endorsing Parashara's light in any way. I will also be doing a session on Jagannatha Hora. Any software is okay as long as it serves your needs. Yeah. So now I'm sharing my screen and you see a blank blue screen, right? Now I'm going to hit Control N and I get a data entry dialog box, right? You can enter the name, the gender. If when we do compatibility, gender becomes important. Date, time as accurately as possible, place, and Rodden's rating generally says how accurate is the time of birth? It's a very standardized rating. If you can read through the options and you can select it. This is very helpful for research, right? So right now, I'm not going to enter any details. I just hit enter. I hit OK. It will give me a Prashna chart. Yeah. Now, what you are seeing here is how I have customized my screen. It will be very different from what you have. So for the purpose of this working session, what I suggest we do is click on the chart dialog box on the top right-hand corner where it says, whatever it says, birth chart. You will get the worksheet dialog box. Click add screen and you will get a new screen. Let's just start blank. Yeah. Now I'm going to call this, I'll give it a name. I will call it webinar, right? Before you hit enter, take a moment to look at the different dimensions that you can use. The ideal dimension depends on how large your screen is and the resolution of your screen. You can start with 3 by 3. What it means is 3 cells horizontally, 3 cells vertically. I can make it 4 by 3, in which case I have 4 cells horizontally, 3 cells vertically, then everything shrinks in size. If I go to 6 by 5, I have 6 cells horizontally, 5 cells vertically, right? Depends on your preference. I'm going to take 3 by 3. I won't use any of these for now, and I will click OK. Now I have a blank screen. I will give you a minute to reach this. Okay. Everyone with me? Take your mouse to any cell. Let's stay with the top left-hand cell, blank cell, and you double click. And you will get the chart and table selection dialog box. So over here, I'm selecting chart. I can select anything over here. Don't worry about all that for now. Just follow along with me. I'm doing chart. I want the birth chart, so I'll select birth in the second column. I select sign in the third column, and I select Janma in the fourth column. Just take the first option in all. That's the base from which you will start your interpretation. Yeah. So that I need first. Now, before you click OK, at the bottom where it says 1 by 1, now you can choose how big you want your chart. So let us say I want it 2 by 2. That means 2 cells horizontally, 2 cells vertically. I will get a very big chart, right? I will just show you. See, I've got a very big chart which covers 2 cells horizontally, 2 cells vertically. Yeah. If you make a mistake, just double click and you get your chart dialog box again. Now I don't want it that big. I will just leave it 1 by 1. I don't use any tick mark. I'll make it small. Let's say I want the North Indian chart. I right click and choose North Indian. I've got the North Indian chart. I'm going to pause there. See if you can bring this one chart on your screen. Okay. Let's keep with the North Indian. Oh, okay, let me go back to South Indian. Now, right click on any planet and just explore these different things. Okay. So let's say if I'm using the North Indian format, I can right click on Venus and say rotate chart to Venus. Venus becomes Lagna. Works only in the North Indian format. I can say Moon. I rotate the chart to Moon. Moon becomes Lagna. Yeah? Okay. Now, one thing I need when I'm analyzing the birth chart is the nakshatra, is the degree, the avastha. The details of the planet for me are very important. Yeah. Let's put that in. Yeah. I'm not going to mess around with that particular screen. What I will do is, let me go back to South Indian. I right click at the bottom below the chart. Not right click, I double click. I get the chart and table selector dialog box. Now, in the first one, instead of tables, I choose planetary information. Everything else I keep same. Birth, sign, Janma. Yeah. And here I will make it 2 bar 1, 2x1. By default, it is saying 2 because there's that much of information. 2x1. I click on OK, and it will give me all the details of the planets, of the grahas. Yeah. Now, I don't know what all these columns are. I right click and choose Advanced Display Options. And I click on Show Column Titles. Yeah. So now I have the headers for each column. We can customize that. We'll go there slowly. I'm going to pause here. Give me a thumbs up if you're able to get this.
Vikram, would you mind repeating the steps to this thing again?
Yeah, let me do that at the bottom. So first step, you double click in an empty area, right? I double click. Now, instead of taking the charts, I click on planetary info because I want details of the planet. I click on planetary info, and the context is the birth chart, not the transit chart, the birth chart, the sign chart, and I want the details in my D1, in my Janma Varga, right? And then I click on OK, and I get all of that. Now, the default is it does not give me the column headers. So I need to right click, Advanced Display Options, and click on Show Column Titles. And that will give me the column headers. Yeah. Now, I don't need a duplication. I want to remove one of them. I can right click, and you see this option of blank cell, and that will remove the cell. Now, let's put in another important chart over here. Whichever chart is most important for you, let's put that here, right? For some of you, it could be the transit chart. For some, it could be the divisional chart. You choose. So I want to put the divisional chart over here. So I'm going to double click. I'm going to choose chart, birth, sign, but then I choose a different divisional chart. The divisional chart that is most important when we interpret a horoscope is the Navamsha. I want that close to me. So I click on Navamsha and I click OK. I get the D9 over here. Yeah. Now, a little hygiene check at this stage, right? When I have multiple charts like this, and I'm in the middle of a consultation, I don't want to get confused which is the birth chart, which is the divisional chart. Yes, it is mentioned in the header, but it is too small. So what I do, when I go to the main chart, I right click, Advanced Display Options. I get my advanced options over here, and I click on Show Birth Details. Personal preference, because once I do this, I know that wherever there is all this text, I know that is my birth chart. I don't do that with the divisional charts. So I'm looking at the client and then I look at the screen. I know where my eyes should go to search for the divisional chart. Search for the birth chart, right? Give me a thumbs up if everybody is with me so far.
Vikram, how did you delete the third box that you created?
Yeah, so let me just, let's say I want to delete this one, right? Let's say I want to delete birth chart planetary details. I right click inside and I click on blank cell.
Yes.
Okay, now the next important thing for me is the dasha. Right? We want to bring the dasha into this work screen. Right? Now I have multiple options. I can put the dasha over here. I can put the dasha in this cell. I can choose whichever cell I want. I can put the dasha, right? Yeah, so I want my dashas. You know, there's something called planetary periods. There are different kinds of dashas. That becomes important when we analyze the birth chart. So I double click an empty portion. And under tables, I choose 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6th option here, which says dasha. Right? Birth, sign, janma. But over here, I want to see it 1x2. I want one cell, but I want it long. Personal preference, right? And then I click OK. Now look what I got. I got one cell by two cells down. Yeah. Now, I don't know what these different columns are. So you right click, no. Yeah, you come over here where it says whatever planet you have, you right click on the planet and you go to advanced display options. In advanced display options here, I want my headers. You right click on the planet and then you say show header. Yeah, this will give me the column headers. This is very important for dashas because some software give you the beginning date of the dasha, some software give you the ending date of the dasha. Right? So make sure you know whether the date given is start or end, depending on which software you're using. Now, generally, how I interpret the chart, I'm not worried about the day of the week that the dasha starts. What is more important for me is the age, approximate age of the person, because how you interpret the dasha changes completely, right? Depending on the age. So I want the age over here. I right click the planet. I go to advanced display options and I click on age. Yeah, and it gives me the age. Right? Now over here, it says 1, which means it's the first year of birth. Not that 1 year has been completed, but the client is in the first year of birth. I can click on the minus sign over here to go up to Mahadasha level. And then you have the age at which the different dashas operate. Yeah? I'm going to pause there, wait for you to catch up. And in the meantime, let me know if you have any questions or give me a thumbs up if you're done. Anil?
When I did the minus and I got one planet, what was the second planet and the third planet there?
Those are the sub-dashas. We are not going into interpretation. This is the sub-dasha. This is the sub-sub-dasha. There are 5 levels of dashas, right?
Got it.
You can go to sub-levels by clicking on the plus, and it goes up to a maximum of 5 levels in all dashas, right? And then you can even use your mouse to go down and up. You know, the scroll bar, you can go down and up, right? Or you can use these arrows to go down or up, right, in time. Now, not all of us use Vimshottari, right? Especially if you're using Jaimini, you want to use Charadasha. If you're doing Tajik, you want to use Muddadasha. So you right click on Vimshottari, not right click, yes. When you click on Vimshottari, you get the Dasha selection dialog box. Yeah. So here I can choose which Dasha system I want. Let's say I want Charadasha. And then by default, it tells you what the dasha should be based on. Be very conscious if you're going to change this. You need to know what you're doing. Say, for instance, if I use Vimshottari, it will automatically default to the moon. Leave it as it is if you're just studying astrology. I'm going to choose Chara. It is Lagna Dasha, and I want it for 2 levels based on Janma. Right now, the software gives you the option to do dashas based on Varga charts. If you're a beginner, leave it at Janma. Yeah. And then I click OK, and Vimshottari change to Chara.
Vikram?
Yeah.
Is it okay to also do just in another column, say the Vimshottari, and then so you have the Chara?
Exactly.
And you can.
That's
Okay.
exactly where I was going to. Thank you
Oh,
for
sorry.
asking. Let's do that. Shruti, question?
I think it was similar. So do you keep changing from
Yeah.
Vimshottari to Chara, or do you create a
Right.
different worksheet?
Right. So personal preference, I use both when I interpret, depending on the question. So I need both the dashas easily available to me, right? So what we are going to do is double click over here. I get the chart selection dialog box. I don't do 1 bar 2. I'll keep it as 1x1. I'll compress to save real estate. I compress the size and I just choose one cell. Yeah. Now I've got Charadasha there. I can put Vimshottari at the bottom. I double click the empty cell, or you do it. Put Vimshottari in that cell. Now I want Vimshottari Dasha here. I double click. I choose Dashas, birth, sign, Janma, and I keep it as 1 bar 1. If I click, I get Vimshottari. Now I need my column headers.
Vikram, I have a question here.
Yeah.
Now, because we started with the Chara Dasha, and if I have to, now I have the Vimshottari first and doing the Chara Dasha next. How do I create that? I'm not sure if it's showing that option when you double click.
No, one sec, hold on. So let's say I want to swap this. That's what you're asking for.
So for example, I already have the Vimshottari Dasha at the on top. Now the next cell I want to create Chara Dasha.
Chara Dasha, right. So let's say I want this to become Vimshottari. Click on Chara. I get the chart selector, and here I choose whichever one I want. Now I've got
So but
Vimshottari.
basically we only start with Vimshottari. That's the option that we get irrespective.
The default is Vimshottari.
Yeah, okay, that's what I
Right. Yeah. So I've got Vimshottari on top now and Chara. Personal preference, right? But I want my column headers here. So I do advanced display options, age and header. Yeah. And I get that. Let me pause there, Anil.
So for instance, I have the Chara on top and Vimshottari. Is there a click and move kind of a functionality where I can just
Yes, it's there. So let's do that. Good point to bring that up. So let's say now I've got Vimshottari and Charadasha on the right side of the screen. Let's say I want to take it to the bottom over here. There's whole place over here, right? What I do, I right click and I have select. Now be careful, it's showing me the grid and it's showing me the red border around the cell that I have selected. Now you see the mouse has turned into a hand. I left click, I hold it, and I move it wherever I want. Yeah, but now you see the red line has come outside the cell. I don't like that. Yeah, so I take my mouse over here where it changes into the double pointed arrow. I click and I drag inside. I can take it wherever I want, right? But this is going to be too narrow, so I keep it for the whole thing, especially when I go into Pratyantal Dasha, right? I click outside and I still have all the dotted lines. I want to remove all of that. So for that, I just have to toggle the screen. I go to some other screen and come back to this screen. Now let's move the chart again. What you do is inside the cell, you right click and you click on select. That cell will get a red border. You click, you hold, you drag. And you place it where you want it. And then you adjust the size based on your preference. Now, I still have the dotted lines over here. I want to remove it. Yeah. The easiest way to do that is to just go to some other screen and come back to the screen. Yeah. So you see the top chart selector where it says webinar. I click on that. I just go to some other screen and then I come back to webinar and the dotted lines have gone. Now, while I take a question, think about what you want on the right side, right? And see if you can fill it up based on your system of chart interpretation. Yeah. Anil, question?
More than question, it was an insight. When I right-clicked and said click to grid, it served both purposes. The rest of the grid disappeared.
Yeah.
It came.
Super. Yeah. Okay. What would you like to put on the right side?
Can you do a transit?
Exactly. That's where I was going to. Transit chart for me is very important. Right? So now if I look at the layout of my screen, I see that I've got two charts on the top. So let me continue and put the transit chart on the top cell. I double click, or you do it. Put the transit chart next to the Navamsha chart.
Which transit should we choose, Vikram? There is only transit and transit ascendant and transit moon.
Yeah, choose animated transit.
And the rest of these are the same, right? Chart, sign, and Janma are all the same.
Yeah, keep that all same. So let me double click here. Here I choose chart, and here I'm going to choose animated transit. Yeah? I have sign and Janma, and I will keep this as 1x1, and I click OK. Now I've got the transit chart, but it's the animated transit, so I can change the date, right? So what is important here is that you put the birth details, because I can see that what date this transit chart is for. Yeah? It so happens that Prashna chart, I made the chart of today. But now look, if you take your mouse inside the cell, you can go back and forth using your scroll, using your mouse scroll, right? I can go forward or backward, and that is the power of animated transit. Yeah. So now I'm in 29/4/26. You know, I can quickly see. Come again.
Vikram, can you just show it again, because when I'm doing the same in the North Indian, it is not happening.
Okay, so let me change this to North Indian. See, the problem with North Indian for me is I don't know where to put the birth details.
Okay.
Right. But now, even in the North Indian, I can move up and down. I'm using the mouse scroll, right? So in my mouse, I have this scroll, the wheel, right? Scroll wheel.
Okay,
so
okay, got it.
I'm using that to go forward in time and backward in time.
Understood.
Yeah. But I'm going to stay with South Indian because then I can see which date I'm at.
Absolutely, absolutely. One more question, Vikram. Maybe, I mean, just what we are doing right now, it is not related to that. But suppose, as per the Mahadasha or Dasha, if we want to rotate our birth chart, how we can do that?
Exactly. That's why we said animated transit. Now, see, let's say I want to see Mars, right? Mars is the next major Mahadasha, right? So what I do now, I right click on Mars and I click update animated transits. You right click on the Mahadasha or even Antardasha, does not matter. Update animated transits. So the date automatically updates to the date when this Dasha starts, 6/7/2027.
Okay. And can we do this in the birth chart also? So if we want to see the chart as per the Dasha lot, for the birth chart also, we can do the same thing?
Sorry, birth chart, you're not going to change it based on Dashanatha, right? You may rotate it to that Dashanatha. So say, for instance, Mars. Yeah, rotation is possible, but rotation works only in North Indian. So let's switch to North Indian, right?
Okay.
Now let's say Mars Dasha is going to begin. I want to rotate the chart to Mars. So I right click on Mars and say rotate chart to Mars.
Understood.
So Mars becomes Lagna.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Arpita and then Shruti.
I clicked on something and it has changed everything and got expanded into like Vimshotri, Dasha effect, expansion. How do I go back to the original?
Just remove the cell and reinsert it.
Okay.
Okay. Shruti?
Vikram, when I did the Gochara, now I've created this for my birth chart. In Gochara, when I do the birth details, it's giving me Jaipur as the location. Now, can I change
Got it.
that?
Yes, yes, good point. So if you go to options, no, here, file edit. Now I'm using a Mac, so you need to see what it is in Windows, but under edit for me, there is something called astrologer's location. Right? This I have set it to Pondicherry because I'm in Pondicherry, but you set it to your location, right? The transit over here, the default is to the astrologer's location, right? Now that's a very important point when we start doing prashna. The place is taken where the astrologer is located. Now there's a whole school of thought about where the client is located needs to be taken as the place. So then you have to change this to place of birth of the client. But basically the transit chart, the default is astrologer's location.
Vikram,
Yeah.
in my Gochara transit chart, under today, it's showing March 17th. Why not?
Yeah, because
today?
you've gone back and forth. Now let's see how we can come back to real time, right?
Yeah.
Now let's say I've gone to 31st July 2027, right? I want to come back to real time. What I do is I go to tools, change time tool, and over here, make sure that it is transit. This is very important. Don't change the birth chart. We don't want to change the birth chart time. We want to change the animated transit. So even when it says animated transit, again, I go and select animated transit and then click on real time.
Okay, change it. Thank you.
Vikram, once again, please.
Yeah. So let's say, for instance, the Gochara chart, right? Let's say I've gone forward, right? So let's say I'm in 27th May 2026, right? I want to come back to real time. I want the transit chart of the moment again. Right? So the way to do that is to go to, is there an option here? No. So I go to tools, change time tool, double click on this, make sure that you're changing the animated transit. This is a hygiene check. You don't want to change the birth details, and click on real time. It comes back to 12/4/2026. Let's take another session, same time next Sunday, right? You will have to re-register. So those who don't want another session, I will take them out of the mailing list. If you would like to attend another session, please re-register. I will send you the link, but take a screenshot of this, right? And see if you can duplicate this screen between now and next session. Yeah. And then we will go further. We will further customize look and feel. We will customize Ainamsha. We will customize the details of the planet that are shown, right? We can look at Ashtakavarga depending on what the group wants. Yeah.
Vikram, one quick question. I was trying to put the Shadbala graph and the Bhavbala graph also in there, but by default that the Shadbala graph which is coming look like that some of the screen portion is out of actually the screen chart.
Right. So how do you customize that? Can we take this next session? Yeah. Play with it. You will be able to figure it out, but we can take this up in the next session. Yeah.
Sure.
So we are going to post this recording on YouTube. I will be sharing this recording with Rajdeep sir. So follow us on YouTube, and please register for the next session if you're interested.
Thank you, Vikram. It will be very beneficial and useful session it was. मैं एक बात और ऐड करना चाहता हूँ. हमारे साथ कुछ लोग नॉर्थ इंडियन हैं, हिंदी वाले लोग हैं, तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. आप अपना कोई भी, अगर आपका कोई डाउट है तो आप अपना सवाल हिंदी में भी पूछ सकते हैं. कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. विक्रम उनको एंटरटेन करेंगे, वो ताकि हम इसको कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि कुछ लोगों का इनपुट मिला है कि थोड़ा सा हिंदी में भी बोलें. तो कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. आपका जो भी डाउट है, जो भी आपका सजेशन है, जो भी आप पूछना चाहते हैं, प्लीज आप हिंदी इंग्लिश लैंग्वेज यूज कर सकते हैं.
Thank you, sir. I completely forgot about that.
Like we have created the new windows, how do we delete them? Like if we don't need a certain window, when you go to the webinar, you get to have an option to create a new window. So like I have
Correct.
one which named unused. How should I delete it?
Yeah, there is no option I have found to delete it.
Okay, no problem.
Yeah. Okay. All
Okay.
right. Yeah. People have raised your hands. Is this for questions or that you want another session?
Yeah. Vikram, I had a question. I had the whole
Yeah.
thing laid out, and when I
Yeah.
went to change the astrologer's location, suddenly when I came back, I just seen lordships only, and I realized worksheet properties have changed, and I can't now locate anything. So is there a way to save what I did, and has everything that I did got lost?
So there is an option in the GeoVision folder called options, which will be
Okay.
saving it, but then it may be overwritten, right?
So right now, how do I even revert to what I had 5 minutes ago through the software? Is that I don't know, because I'm
No,
not able to
no.
navigate back.
There is no undo option in customization. No software will provide an undo option for customization. You'll have to recreate it.
Okay.
Yeah, first of all, thank you for this amazing session, Vikrant. I wanted to know that how do we switch between languages?
I have
Suppose I
only
have
the
selected-
English option. Can
Yeah,
you check
English
with
and
Shalini?
Marathi.
Or maybe Rajdeep sir knows how to change language. I've got only the English option, right? So I don't know how to change
yes.
language.
It's
RK
in the
Pandit, sir?
file. The
It's in
change of
file?
language is in file.
Yeah, very good. Thank you, Nicole. Here you go, ma'am. File language. So it says
Correct.
English. You must have another option. Just click on that and see if that changes language.
Okay,
Okay, thanks.
which person have already taken the different language, like English is the main language, and the regional language that have already given to request Shalini ji and receive the software in different language, you can choose through file option. Thank you, Nicholas.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Okay. All right, RK Pandey ji, and then we will close the session.
नमस्कार विक्रम, आपका सेशन बहुत रहा। एक चीज मैं जानना चाहता कि जो एक्सरसाइज है ये सेल का और चार्ट प्रिपेयर करने का, तो हर एक पर्सन के बर्थ डिटेल के आधार पर हम कस्टमाइज कर सकते हैं उसके लिए। इट इज नॉट कॉमन टू ऑल।
पंडित विक्रम, मैं जस्ट आई क्वेश्चन आंसर।
Yeah,
पंडित जी, जो आपका सवाल है वो क्या है, वो कुंडली सेव कर सकते हैं आप। एक फोल्डर बनता है आपके सी ड्राइव में, वहां पर जितना कुंडली आप सेव करेंगे ना, आप उतना सेव करते जाइए उसको। आपको जब भी चाहिए होगा आप वहां से चूज कर सकते हैं।
जी।
Great question. So one thing we did not do is to save this chart, right? So you just click on Command S, and you get the Save As dialog box.
Correct.
You give it a name, right? And it will save in the GeoVision charts folder.
इसको दोबारा से अगर आप लेना चाहते हैं पांडे जी, तो फाइल जो सबसे पहला ड्रॉप डाउन है विक्रम, उसके अंदर ओपन में जाके आप इसको खोल सकते हैं। ओपन में आपके सामने ये आएगा, इसमें आप निकाल सकते हैं। ऐसे जो चार्ट बने हुए हैं, इसको चूज कर सकते हैं आपको जो चार्ट निकालना है।
तो कहने का मीनिंग ये है कि हर एक इंडिविजुअल के साथ हम अलग अलग ऑप्शन तैयार कर सकते हैं और उसको सेव कर सकते हैं उसके लिए, पर्टिकुलर आदमी के लिए।
यस
No, sir.
यस नहीं विक्रम, वी कैन सपोज पांडे जी का जो सवाल है वो सवाल है कि सपोज मैंने किसी का D9 चार्ट देखा और दूसरे में नहीं जरूरत है, लेकिन ऐसा पॉसिबल नहीं होगा। जब आप इसको खोलेंगे तो जो आपने अपना फॉर्मेट सेव किया है ना उसमें खुलेगा।
Correct.
हाँ, ठीक है।
Okay. Shall we just breathe and bring the session to a close? And when you're ready, you can open your eyes. Thank you, everyone. And
Thank you, Vikram.
I'll see you in a week.
Bye-bye.